Hello again, everybody. Douglas Gautier once again. And prior to this closing session, I just really wanted to thank Yvonne and the panelists for the previous session. Terrific session, really some great ideas dealing with those issues that we're all wrestling with. And some of the deeper questions. And Yvonne referred to Benson Poir, former Chairman Benson Poir's point about reevaluating our mission and purpose, and that this gives us a very big pause for thought in terms of thinking about our position in society and our position with artists and position with audiences and creative work. And these are all good questions and right and proper ones that we should ponder. It was a great session, and again, thank you very much, Yvonne, for pulling all of that together, and indeed the APAC Secretariat team. So it's a really very pleasant duty now to throw it back to Yvonne to talk about our 2022 conference, and hopefully by that time some of us, hopefully most of us, will be able to travel to Singapore for the conference, which I know we're all looking forward to tremendously. The last time we got together face to face was in Manila in 2019. It seems like an age ago, but it was a great conference. Everybody there welcomed us with open arms, and it was really a fantastic and very warm conference, and a good time to get together with people and see all of the great creative work that was happening in the Philippines, and particularly around that centre, I think, in its 50th anniversary year. Anyway, without more ado, Yvonne, I'll throw it to you to tell us about what we can think about for 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. It's me again. I would like to warmly welcome everybody to join us in Singapore this time next year on 19th to 21st of October for the next AAPPAC conference. We've decided to call it Future Forward. Well, because for the last 2 years, we've been kind of stuck in Groundhog's Day, even though all of us have been spending so much time looking around us and trying to serve both immediate needs and thinking also about the future. So we thought next year, as we gather as art centers, art makers, arts festivals, that let's pause and let go of the immediate concerns and actually dream a bit and also worry a bit, if you will, when we think about that future. So I welcome everyone to Singapore, and Esplanade is really privileged to host this, partly because we are also celebrating our 20th year next year. And when you do come to Singapore, we'll be really happy to have you visit a new venue that will be opening at that time. All through COVID and just before that, we had started building a new mid-sized theatre right by our waterfront. You can see that in the image here. It's right by our outdoor dining and hawker centre. It's what we call a multi-format theatre. I think last Tisa spoke about this, artists wanting massive black boxes. So in a way, this theatre can be a massive black box, flat floor. It could be in a round, or of course, it could revert to being a more conventional proscenium theatre. So we'd love to have you come as we open this new theatre in October. At the same time, while you're here, I think we are planning, every time I talk about what we're planning, my fingers and my toes are crossed, right? Just hoping that we all can make this happen. But if we can, then what you'll see in October are several performances. But I think these are 3 kind of commissions that we've put in place for next year. Dragon Ladies Don't Weep was a co-commission between Singapore and Australia. It was premiered just before COVID, I think, in Australia, and then in Singapore we couldn't make it happen because of COVID. We brought it back in the studios, but I think in October we're going to have this work, which has gone on to win several awards, I hear, in Australia, in our mid-sized theatre. and the Singapore Chinese Orchestra and the Singapore Symphony Orchestra. We've got 2 new commissions with them. And we hope that when you're here for the conference, you also have the chance to catch some of these performances. At the same time, there are, these other members of the AAPPAC, as well as non-members, but cultural institutions and facilities in Singapore. The Star Performing Arts Centre, there will be a chance to visit that. I think since the last time many of you are in Singapore, we've opened a new National Gallery, which is in a preserved monument building and done very nicely. We've opened a new Singapore Chinese Cultural Centre, which our new member. And I think I couldn't list or put all the images in here, but you've heard yesterday from the Arts House, and they run a whole range of arts housing facilities, and of course the symphony. So when you're in Singapore, we will be arranging for trips and different sessions to be held at these venues as well, so that you just won't be seeing plain old Esplanade. Sorry, the next slide will show you some of these other art centers that there'll be a chance for us to visit when you're in Singapore next year. And I'm going to pass this time now to my colleague Claire, who's our head of content and comms, or soon to be, I guess, much of it's digital. She's going to tell us a bit about the conference itself. Claire?
Hi, everyone. So just to introduce the topics of next year's conference to you, we wanted to look at futurity in the broadest and most mind-expanding sense. So not just digital, but also in the sense of live performance, our social missions as art centers, arts companies, and arts venues, and the role of the arts in general in a post-COVID world, to look at the new possibilities and considerations for the arts, and the idea that, when the dust settles and everything returns to normal, the world will look anything but normal. So we think the world will look markedly different in 3 very distinct ways, and these are the 3 sub-themes that will inform how we plan the conference. So the first is the need, I think, in a post-COVID world for interdisciplinary and creative thought leadership. So this section of the conference will bring together the likes of designers, creative technologists, and emerging festivals and venues that are responding to change, that are rethinking established models and drawing on interdisciplinary knowledge to move forward. Then the second sub-theme of the conference is the need for inclusivity and social engagement, because the pandemic has laid bare inequalities in many of our societies. So this is a conversation on democratic means of accessibility and connecting vulnerable communities through the arts in sectors such as theatre for young audiences, disability arts, and community arts. And finally, we're looking at the S word that concerns all of us, sustainability. So this section would bring together speakers who are thinking about new ways for the arts to sustain itself financially, as well as with greater sensitivity to its built and natural environment. So that's something you can look forward to next year. And I'll hand the time back to Yvonne.
Well, when we think about the future, oops. My last slide here actually is from the past. I was reminded that the last time many of us were in Singapore was 2014. And so if you expand your screen, you could possibly spot yourself in this photo at the Esplanade. We'll be really happy to have you back and maybe recreate this photograph and have the challenge of trying to fit even more people in a photo like this. So hope to see everybody by then. I'm sure there'll be more questions closer to that date on logistics and stuff. But all you have to do now is to lock this date into your schedule, and we'll give you more information. And with that, I would just like to pass that time back to Douglas, our chairperson, to round this conference up. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Yvonne. That really looks very exciting. And in fact, you refer to that photograph. I have that photograph framed over my left shoulder here because I've kept it in my office because it really did capture a lot of very fond memories of that great conference in Singapore with Benson in the chair, but virtually all of you there at the Esplanade assisting us, and we saw many venues across Singapore. We saw many wonderful creative arts works and community arts works, which were very impressive indeed. So I know we're all looking forward to coming back. I hope we can, and I'm sure we will get the same warm reception from you, and we'll be stimulated with lots of ideas and collegiality, which is what this association is all about. So, as you say, there will be more questions about how this is going to happen, and the Secretariat and EXCO will do our best to try and relay all the appropriate information as soon as we can. But put it in your diaries. I think that's really important. Okay, well, I'm going to bring this to a close now. It's been 2 days of really pertinent and stimulating advice and input and thoughts about our creative sector and the role of venues and art centres in it. But what has been particularly pleasing, I think, has been the participation of the areas and sectors that make up the family in every respect. The festivals, and of course the opening address was from the head of the Hong Kong Arts Festival and ISPA, but also on the line, I went through the lists, and we had people, artist agents, we had software suppliers, we had ensembles, we had independents. All of that just goes to make up the whole, and that possibility of sharing and hearing of experiences and thoughts about the future and what we've learned from the past and our current predicament, all of that has been so valuable. So again, I thank Rochelle and Jackie, Secretariat, for putting all of this together with the panelists and their important contribution, but it certainly wouldn't happen without the Secretariat, and I think all the great work they've done to make sure that our organisation stays together through this time has been really outstanding, and so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. It's really been terrific. So again, I thank all the EXCO members who I know, like myself, work, believe in the organisation, work very hard to make sure that it continues to be relevant and active, and so thank you for that. And in fact, we'll talk to you very soon, I guess, as all of the members as part of the AGM. But in the meantime, thank you again for attending this conference. Please stay tuned for all the various things that we will do online prior to Singapore 22, and you're always very welcome. And of course, if there are any folks you think would like to join up, please encourage them to do so. We're always open to that. So thank you once again. Go well, and hopefully see you soon. Bye now.